This is the new Cygnet Stainless Sink. It is made in South Korea on the same molds as the 800 series sinks, so that your guys in the shop, they fit the same templates of that, although we do have new templates. Actually, we have both the templates for the old 800 and for the new, this is a BD820. A couple of things. What's important to your customer about a stainless steel sink? The first most important thing about a stainless steel sink to your customer is it's 304 stainless. 304 stainless is 18% chromium, which means it matches your appliances. All the appliances, appliance grade steel is 18% chromium, so it's shiny, and 8% nickel, so the finish lasts a long time. Years ago, when the tariff came about and sinks went up 60% overnight, a lot of guys started making out of cheaper steel, typically 301 stainless, which it's not going to leak, it's not going to, it's going to hold water and everything. And in fact, if you looked at it in here and then went in the next room and looked at a 304, you might not notice the difference. But a 301 is 16% chromium, so it's duller out of the box. If you put it next to a 304 stainless, or more importantly, you put it next to an appliance, it won't match. A few years ago, a friend of mine who runs a cleaning service called the Polish Cleaning Ladies called me up and said she was about to lose one of her customers. Could I come and help her because she couldn't get the sink clean? Well, I went out to see her, and the lady had a brand new countertop. And I looked at it, and it was much duller than the Sub-Zero refrigerator she had right next to it. And she said, well, I said, where did you get the sink? And she said, well, I got it free with my countertop. I said, well, you got what you paid for, because this is 301, and it won't, nothing I can do to make it match this because it's got less chromium. Now, the other thing about 301 is it has less nickel, which means it ages. Sometimes when your guys pull out the old drop-in sinks, they're kind of yellow and brown and just look old, okay? That's because they only have 6% nickel. The 8% nickel hardens the finish and makes it last longer. If you take a 10-year-old 304 stainless steel sink and clean it, they're not self-cleaning, it will stay as bright and shiny as it was the day you put it in. Okay, the second thing that's important about your stainless steel sink is the weight of the stainless steel sink. In and of itself, the weight is not important, but what's important is when you if you take a 20 gauge drop-in sink and you turn the water on, it's noisy. So the heavier the sink, the quieter it is. The Cygnet Stainless Sinks are welded sinks. See, there's the weld mark. When you make a stainless steel sink, you start with a square piece of steel, okay, and you draw the bowl. By drawing, what they mean is you're drawing that steel in. That's where the steel comes from the sides, okay? When we make the Cygnet stainless sink, we cut that off and we weld two together. That's the weld you see here. What that means is all four sides of that bowl are the same thickness, okay? When the cheap sinks came about and people were giving away the free sinks, what happened was they started pressing two bowls at the same time. When you press two bowls at the same time, I had a lot of trouble finding this on the internet, this picture, because nobody brags about that they press both bowls at the same time. You can see where they're drawing the bowl and they're pulling in the steel. But when you come to the center rail, there's no place to pull it from. Okay, so to make that center rail, you have to stress and stress that center rail. Now, what that can do is, first of all, that can be as thin as 20 or 22 gauge. You tap on it, it's much lighter than the rest of the sink. Also, it can cause stress and stress marks, usually ripples or stretch marks, right? It can be anywhere in the sink, but typically it's right near the center rail. So that's why a welded sink is always going to be better than a double press sink. Now, the other thing is the Cygnet stainless sinks are made from South Korean steel. And don't ask me why, but South Korean 16 gauge sink is heavier than Chinese 16 gauge. Obviously 16 gauge is heavier than 18 gauge, but South Korean is about 7% heavier. I don't know why, I don't know under the standards, but it is heavier. Okay, when we made this agreement, and we've made a 20-year agreement with Cygnet, so there won't be any more template changes and moving around. We said we don't just want a sink, we want the best sink on the market. And so the first thing we did is the finish is 100% automated. So once you get these now, a sink 10 years from now, 5 years from now, 8 years from now is going to be the same finish as this one because it's automated and going to be consistent. The next thing we did is, if you look at the cheap sinks, there's usually sound pads all over. Now those sound pads are made of recycled tires, and sometimes, you know, you put them under the sink and you open the sink 6 weeks later and you get this rubber smell. Okay, the recycled tire ones smell. So we didn't want that. So underneath here, if you ever take off the side panel in your car, there's a foam pad, rubber foam pad that keeps the road noise off. That is what's underneath there. You can see it a little bit in the outline here. Then we added this thermal pad. Now, to the best of my knowledge and belief, this is exclusive to Cygnet. Nobody else has it. We haven't seen it anywhere else. What this is it keeps the water in your sink just a little warmer. And on New Year's Eve, when you fill it full of beer and ice, it'll stop your condensation. So it's a condensation pad as well as a thermal pad. Then Jim carried when we had the meeting, he carried one of the old sinks with the white undercoating on it and said, see these scuffs? And they were all marks in gray from our handling in the warehouse, from your handling in the shop, whatever. He said, I want the under paint to be scuff gray so that it doesn't show the scuffs. And so that's why this is scuff gray instead of. Okay, that's what makes the stainless steel sink different. Better steel, 304 stainless, better processes, it's welded and a fully automated finish. Certified quality, it meets building code. See the mark on here? That's a UPC symbol. All sinks, you know, when Viroqua writes a plumbing code, they don't start from scratch and write a plumbing code. What they do is they adopt one of the model codes, usually either Uniform Plumbing Code or the International Building Code. Then they modify it to local conditions. All the model codes require that sinks be certified to meet ASTM 112.19.3. There'll be a test on that later, so pay attention. A lot of the certified the cheap giveaway sinks don't meet that requirement. Now the chance of someone coming in, and, you know, building inspector inspecting for it is pretty slim, but if you get in trouble with a customer and he's looking for things to complain about, that's one more thing. Oh, they don't even use the certified sink. So, okay, any questions on the sink so far?
Could you explain automated finish?
It's a machine that does it. Okay, it's a machine with belts on it that comes and sands it. A lot of the sinks, particularly the center rail, and that's one of the problems we ran in with the other brand. The center rails were not evenly finished because there was a guy physically doing it by hand with a machine, you know, a handheld machine, and so they were uneven. So, but this machine comes down and does it. It's all completely automated. These are the grates. These are 304 stainless stains, so they're made of the exact same steel as the sinks, so they will match today, tomorrow, and forever. A lot of the grates you buy come with cheaper steel. A lot of them have plastic varnish on them that can peel and cut. A lot of them have real nasty looking welds and things. So these are made of the same quality and the same standards as the sink, so they're going to last a lifetime. Now, the way to clean these, if you ever have to clean them, is you just take the legs off, put it in the dishwasher and run it through. If one of your customers loses these legs, these are called legs, these are called feet. Don't ask me why. If you send us a note, we'll send them a new set if they get lost.